Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. There was a fight on the GBM card, which was shown on DAZN on Saturday night. And it's worth mentioning because it's one of those sort of cautionary tales for up-and-coming fighters, I think. You had two undefeated guys fighting for something called the IBF European super-bantamweight title over 10 rounds. It's not the European title. The only European title that matters is the EBU title. So this is one of those, IBF trinkets. But worth mentioning because, again, you had two undefeated guys, one from Italy by the name of Francesco De Rosa, 26 years of age. And then from England, you had the hometown fighter or the promoter's fighter, which was Nyall Berry, 10 wins, no defeats, 4 KOs. I think he's only 24. So fair play to them. They're putting their undefeated records on the line. De Rosa was brought over, I suppose, to lose. He didn't. He won in 8 rounds. He stopped Nyall Berry. And it's a curious fight because you could sort of see, the commentators couldn't, but I could sort of see watching it exactly what was going to happen. It was one of those you think, hang on a minute, the commentators are they being biased or are they just genuinely not being able to see what's unraveling here? Because clearly Berry is the promoter's fighter. They wanted him to take an undefeated record and pick up this IBF trinket, which gets him some sort of ranking. It didn't work out. And it didn't work out because Francesco De Rosa didn't let it happen. Berry, he looked shorter, but he was fighting small, so maybe he's not actually shorter, but he was fighting small, coming forward, firing big overhand hooks, singles, trying to put pressure constantly on Francesco De Rosa. De Rosa moving backwards, sort of jabbing a bit, backhand. Both orthodox fighters, by the way. And it looked like, it's 10 rounds, and when you consider that Berry'd never been beyond 8 before, and hadn't really fought anyone. They're all, if you look at his record on BoxRec, it's all journeyman. But the same was true for Francesco De Rosa. 8 rounds is the most he'd done, I think, once, and he fought absolutely no one. So in a sense, they were two sort of, two unknown commodities, I suppose. But like I say, Berry was coming forward, big hooks over the top, trying to put the pressure on De Rosa. De Rosa moving, boxing more. And the commentary team, which consisted of Adam Smith, Spencer Oliver. Was it Spencer Oliver? No, it was Adam Smith, Dave Caldwell, and Spencer Fearon. They kept saying, Berry is putting the pressure on, and he's going to wear out De Rosa, and he'll stop him late. And at one point, Spencer Fearon, God knows why. He's a knowledgeable guy about boxing history, but he said, Nyall Berry's like the British Simon Brown. Well, if you followed Simon Brown's career from virtually start to finish, which I did, trust me, Nyall Berry might look a little bit like Simon Brown, but he is a universe below that. He's a novice pro, Nyall Berry. So is De Rosa, to be honest. But to compare him to Simon Brown, yes, he had that come forward, crouching style, but nowhere near the skills. So, and I'm listening to this commentary and I'm thinking, and it's all Nyall Berry this and Nyall Berry that. And I'm thinking, hang on a minute, De Rosa's throwing punches. And in fact, he's not throwing singles. He may be on the back foot, but he's throwing a lot of punches. He's throwing combinations and salvos, and he's landing enough. He's not landing with everything. But this is 10 rounds, and Berry hasn't done 10 rounds. Now, it's possible that De Rosa was going to run out of steam, and Berry wasn't. Because, again, unknown commodities, two undefeated fighters. You don't know what you're getting. And then in one of the early rounds, was it the 3rd or 4th? Maybe I want to say the 4th. I might have that wrong. Berry took a count, and he was sort of off balance. It was towards the end of the round, but De Rosa definitely caught him, and it was a deserved count. And he got up. He was all right, no problem. Only a flash knockdown, really, but it was a portent of things to come, because from then on, yes, Berry was still coming forward, still trying to bang that overhand right, and I think De Rosa at one point, am I right in saying this? I thought he did a bit of switch hitting. I might be wrong about that. No, he did do it. He did turn southpaw for a little while. which again asks the question of Berry. Okay, the guy's turned southpaw. And to be honest with you, De Rosa didn't look very good as a southpaw because Berry started slinging the right hand over. The old traditional ideal or training method is that if you've got a southpaw in front of you, the straight right is the punch to throw. And then De Rosa switched back to orthodox because he wasn't getting anywhere. But nevertheless, the fact that he switched gave Berry something else to think about. And Berry didn't stop trying, but gradually De Rosa, I just got the feeling, and the commentators were ignoring this, I got the feeling that De Rosa was landing punches that were clipping Berry and not buzzing him, but the accumulation of punches were having an effect. And this continued throughout the fight until you got to the 7th round, and both guys were getting to the point where there was, unknown territory, because they'd both been 8 rounds once or twice before, but they not under this sort of pressure. Who was going to unravel? Was De Rosa going to, slow down and not be able to throw so many punches, or was Berry going to run out of gas? Well, in the 7th round, De Rosa appeared to hurt his right hand. He was shaking it and trying to get some feeling into it or get the pain out of it. And the commentators, of course, jumped on this. And I mean, I like Adam Smith. He's a good guy, I think. But as a commentator, he can be very, very one-sided, very one-sided. And Caldwell and Fearon, 2 guys who are knowledgeable about boxing, didn't seem to notice that Berry was still leaving himself wide open, still coming in the front door and still getting clipped. And I thought, okay, there's only 2.5 rounds to go, maybe 3 rounds to go, but 9 minutes can be a long time when you're knackered. So despite the fact that De Rosa's hand was hurt, between the 7th and the 8th, I think he got a pep talk from his Italian corner, came out for the 8th, and he let it all hang out. It was almost like he thought, okay, I've hurt my hand. We're now in the later rounds. I'm going to just pour all over you. And he did. And Berry couldn't take it. Berry was pushed to the ropes. He was stung to the body. There was a body punch in there. I think a left hook to the body. And De Rosa was using the left hand very well, even though the right hand was hurt. He was jabbing very well with it, and he was hooking off the jab as well, and throwing a couple of check left hooks in. And he hurt Berry, I think, to the body. And then he just poured the punches on Berry. Berry didn't know what to do, was trapped on the ropes, and gradually, almost in steps or stages, crumpled to the floor. He got up looking absolutely shattered. He backed off again to the ropes when the fight resumed. De Rosa poured all over him again, bang, 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 put him on the floor again. It was very similar to the first knockdown. He actually put him through the ropes, I think. And the referee should really have stopped it then, gave Berry one more chance. Berry wasn't throwing any punches at this point, didn't have the energy. And De Rosa jumped on him, battered him, and the referee stopped the fight in the 8th round. So the away fighter scored an 8th round TKO and picked up this IBF trinket. And Berry was distraught afterwards. He was crying, and there's no problem in that. He's a young lad. He's 24. That's not that old. The point is, he's upset because he wants to win. He's desperate to win. He wants to have a good career. It's not the end of the world. You learn. This is how you learn. You learn from. You fought an undefeated fighter, a guy with some good back foot boxing. And you've got to look at this, get a bit humble, as old AJ likes to preach, and say, okay, I got beaten. Now, what am I going to do about it? Am I going to cry about it? Am I going to sulk about it? Or am I going to turn that negative into a positive and, sort of learn from my mistakes? There is plenty for him to work on, because he does have some big holes in his game, but he's got some ability as well. And De Rosa, his biggest win, again, a very good learning fight. 8-round stoppage against a house fighter on the road. How far can he go? Neither of these guys, to me, look like they had the potential for world class. But European level, certainly British level for Nyall Berry, yeah, no problem. But go and have a look at this fight. It was, like I said, it was on DAZN, GBM card. It was a chief support, I think, to Danny Quartermain and James Chereji. But go and have a look at it. It's not a bad fight. Very interesting from the 2 youngsters meeting, learning curve sort of perspective. Let me know what you think about it. Comments below, as always. And please, if you do, subscribe to the channel. If you like this video and you hit the like button, they count them. That'll be a big help too. But please subscribe. Cost you nothing, doesn't it? And I always appreciate your time. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're enjoying your Sunday, and I will catch you later, and bye for now.